It's time now for the award-winning #1 local talk show in Northeast Pennsylvania, The Sam Lesante Show. Now here's your host, Sam Lesante.
Well, folks, a lot of great things happening in the greater Hazleton area. One of them is the one organization that is affiliated of the Chambers called the Greater Hazleton Area Civic Partnership. Now, there's a lot of things involved with the partnership, but one of the things we're going to talk about today is a scholarship program, folks, and this is an opportunity for many people to take advantage of it. My guest, as I had on last year, Bob Skulsky, who is the Executive Director of the Greater Hazleton Area Civic Partnership, and John Madden, of course you all know him as was a former Chancellor at Penn State. He's now called Chancellor Emeritus. I told him he joins a great group of people like our Pope Emeritus, Bishop Timlis Emeritus. Well, you're in pretty good company there, John.
Not quite that elevated.
Well, anyway, John and Bob, thanks for coming on the show. There's a lot to be said about what happens in Hazleton. You know, we have sometimes we have an emphasis, and we're partly to blame to it. It's the news department. You report things in Hazleton that sometimes are negative things. But what we don't realize is that there's so many great things happening in Hazleton, particularly with things like this and what the partnership does, Bob. And hopefully today we could let the viewers know how they could become involved with this. But for a little briefing, Bob, what is the Greater Hazleton Area Civic Partnership for those who do not know of it?
Okay, the Greater Hazleton Area Civic Partnership takes on many different community projects. Our mission statement is to make the Greater Hazleton area the best place to live, learn, work, worship, and play. And we have right now over 250 volunteers that help out with various different projects. You know, some projects we have, like the school cameras, we raised over $40,000 to install cameras at area schools with meteorological equipment to help teach the students, meteorology, and that came and went. And for that particular group, we had over 22 people, including WBRE TV was involved with that. And as the projects come and go, they fall under our umbrella. We're already a 501c3, so a group could come in and raise funding under our umbrella, complete their project, and then they go. But again, right now we have over 250 volunteers working. Our active projects right now are the scholarship program, which John is going to talk about extensively today, our Greater Hazleton Rails and Trails, which a lot of people know about in the area. We have the Black Creek Township Alumni Association, headed by Betty Hodgkinson. They're doing a park down in Black Creek Township, plus a memorial to the old former high school down there. And soon as Ronnie, who has been with the Rails and Trails program since its inception in 1999, still continues to do fantastic work with the Rails and Trails. So, that's just a quick overview of some of our real active projects. We have other projects that are not as active, but as we get funding and everything, we bring them to the forefront also.
Okay, going back to the partnership, what was the slogan you said?
Our mission statement is to make the Greater Hazleton area the best place to live, learn, work, worship, and play.
All right, and I remember when that campaign started, you had flyers out and posters out. It was if organizations, for example, when you say this is an umbrella, if someone comes up with some kind of idea or how to better the Greater Hazleton area, what do they have to do?
Basically, you have to contact me, although we get a lot of inquiries through our representative, Tara Toohill now, and in the past with Representative Eachus, a group would come to their office and say, hey, we want to start a 501c3, similar to like right now the new some new efforts by the hospital to develop clinics in Hazleton. They originally came to us to see if they could fall under our 501c3 umbrella. But any group could come and request it. It goes before our board, and our board will vote to see if it fits our criteria. And then they immediately fall under the Civic Partnership, and almost immediately could start soliciting funding.
So you have about 250 volunteers right now.
Right.
Now, we're going to, as we talked about, maybe doing a show on rails and trails, which I think is interesting. If you don't know what's available in town, if you don't know what's happening, then, you know, there's nothing to do. But when you begin to say, oh, I didn't know this, you know, Standard Speaker puts, weekly, they put activities of what's happening in the community. And as I go over them and say, oh, I tell my wife, oh, something's happening. Oh, look at this, on Tuesday. I didn't know about that. I didn't know about this. As we do know about the scholarship program, we get to John, but the Rails and Trails seems to be, has grown over the year, hasn't it?
Oh yes. Right now we're working a $950,000 project to extend the Rails and Trails 2 miles from the Ashmore area to the Hazelbrook Road. You know, this project has been in the works for almost 6 years now to raise that kind of funding. And a lot of funding for our area. It's mainly federal, state funding, but we have matching funds from local foundations, et cetera. And it's a very exciting project. As I was mentioning earlier, we're putting in a 117-foot pedestrian bridge over an active rail line using abutments that date back into the 1890s. So there's a lot of history involved, and we have a lot of volunteer support in the Rails and Trails, because it not only touches the railroad enthusiasts, but the outdoor enthusiasts, connecting people with the outdoors, the recreational elements such as the playground equipment we have along the trail, picnic areas that we have along the trail, and just beautiful scenery.
Bob, how long have you been in the area?
All my life. I'm born and raised in the northeastern section of Hazleton. Worked for the federal government for 37 years, and now I'm doing this.
I ask you that question because, as a native myself, born in Pardeesville and then, you know, living in the valley now, but sometimes we have a tendency of downing a little negative on what we have, you know, in the area. And I think there's a lot more out there. I know people, I bump into people all the time, what's happening to our town? What's happening to our town? You know, and I'm sure all towns are changing, but people like you and your organizations and John keeping things going and you know, just going forward is a positive thing. Wouldn't you think so? Oh,
definitely. You know, that was one of the things I think I led my whole life being positive. I always look at the positive. You know, try to, you know, you have your down days, but the next day looks brighter. And I think the future for the greater Hazleton area is very bright. There's a lot of negative feelings around, but we're going to overcome that. We're going to get back to where we were and better yet.
I totally agree with you. Part of that organization, folks, is the scholarship program. This is a very interesting opportunity for you, and it's any age. You know, any gender, it's available to you. Come back. John Madden is going to talk about that and a lot more about the Civic Partnership. Isn't it great, folks, that we have organizations in town that are positive and doing good things for us? There's a lot happening in the greater Hazleton area. We just, as Bob Skulsky said, have a little positive attitude. We'll see you after the break. Welcome back to the Sam Lesante Show, folks. Remember, 24/7, SSPTV.com. We're getting millions of hits, folks, every month. Don't forget our shows all around the town. Many of you who are watching the show, we actually bring businesses to your place. Eye Care Today. Dr. Kislin saved a person's life by one person watching the Eye Care Today show and picked it up. She went to see him, and if she didn't go and see him, she'd be dead today. It's an interesting, very interesting show. Dr. Favela with orthopedics on call, Dr. Bafil with Feeling Good, just many of the shows we produce. And, of course, the girls. The numbers are up over 100,000 people watching the girls every week. Thank you very much. And Local News 13 still remains to be the #1 local television news in this area. Hi to my friends in Tamaqua, Delano, Monoy City, and hometown, all the people who are on the new system now at Service Electric Cablevision. Now, John Madden's here, folks. He is the, as they say, Chancellor Emeritus of Penn State. And he is the chairman of the scholarship program for the Greater Hazleton Area Civic Partnership. John, once again, thanks for coming on the show.
Well, thank you, Jim. I appreciate it.
How's everything at Penn State, first of all?
Life is good there at the Penn State Hazleton campus, which is where I used to work. And it's onward and upward for the whole university, too. But I'm not in the center of the action anymore. I'm kind of on the outside looking in. It's a very different perspective.
Still a great college, still a great school, doing great for the community, and it's just growing. They had a great season with the football last year, and everything is, it's a very positive thing. They're doing great up there.
I'll have to make a plug. I worked there 29 years. I had a life before that too, but 29 years I worked at Penn State. And in the years I worked there, most colleges struggle to stay where they are. They work hard, and they don't advance. Penn State is a much better university now than it was when I began in 1978. It's a much, in terms of research, in terms of quality of teaching, in terms of public service, they do more and they do better. So they've really accomplished a lot. I'm very proud to be affiliated with it.
Do you miss this? You miss it, John?
I miss the people. There were some wonderful people, but it was really time for new leadership and somebody else to take on the task I was doing.
See, you remind me of the Pope, Pope Benedict. He figured I got to move on, you moved on. Let's talk about the Civic Partnership, the scholarship program. Explain what the scholarship program is and who it involves and how it got started and all that other stuff.
Sure. Well, it got started, two things came together. One is the owner of a local plastics company, PET Plastics, was unable to find industrial maintenance technicians. Those are the people that keep that plant running. They're the people that make sure the machines don't break down, that make sure that everything works the way it should. He couldn't find those people in this area, and that bothered him a lot. And he continued to have trouble finding technically skilled people. When he retired, the Civic Partnership came along, and he decided to align with the Civic Partnership. One of the recommendations made by a very early Zogby report was that we should do something to stop brain drain in this area. And he decided to put his family foundation behind it to help fund a scholarship to encourage students to go into technical skills, to acquire technical skills. And the terms of the scholarship in a nutshell are that students, they can, anywhere from within the greater Hazleton area.
What's that span? Well, I mean, when
it includes Weatherly, it includes
Would it include my viewing area?
Oh, it's most of your viewing area, yes,
okay.
yes. So
because we go down to Tamaka, Monterey City, different areas, okay.
It gets outside of our area, but they can also be attending school in the area too.
Oh, okay, all right.
But then they have to be studying a variety of technical occupations they can be studying for. It can range from industrial maintenance technician to engineering, four-year engineering, to nursing. Medical technologies are also acceptable. We had somebody heating, ventilation, and air conditioning, went through studying that. But once they complete their studies, they have to work at least 3 years in the greater Hazleton area. Our hope is in those 3 years they're going to put down roots and they're going to stay here. And we're going to have more technically qualified people working in this area. And it's a great opportunity for students because students generally, particularly younger students, don't realize the careers that are out there for people who have technical skills. They don't realize that they're in the driver's seat from a point of view in the workforce. They can choose where they want to work. They can choose where in the world they want to work, in fact, a lot of them. So they've got a lot of options. They've got good jobs, like good job security, if they get the right kind of training. Mm-hmm. And we want to encourage them to do that. So we're doing two things. We're trying to raise funds to supplement the money that the scholarship was originally funded with from local industry. And we're also trying to encourage students to enter these technical fields. And the students can be any age. They can be people in the workforce now. Somebody could be looking to move up in the ranks and become a technician, say at Hershey or at ADM. Somebody could, or they could be a high school student who's enrolled in a program of technical study. So a wide variety of people are qualified for it.
So basically in the technical areas?
Yes, yes, they're all technical.
Okay. So if let's say I'm working right now and I would like to go into another training area, what would be the process here, and how much is the scholarship? Okay.
First of all, you need to get accepted into a technical study program.
Okay. And those programs are available where?
They're available here. They're available at Luzerne County Community College. They're available at Penn State, right locally. You can go outside of the area too for your education. You don't have to get it here.
Okay.
So you could take your courses anywhere you want.
But it has to be in a technical area.
It has to be technical, and you have to come back here and work 3 years in this area when you finish.
Okay.
Or return the scholarship plus interest. Mm-hmm. The scholarship itself is $3,000 a year for 2 years, so it's a total of $6,000, which is a sizable amount of money.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Particularly contrasted with the tuitions that a lot of these students are going to encounter.
Let's assume I'm currently in a technical program right now, okay, and when I'm not aware of this scholarship program. Can I apply for it?
I wish you would.
Okay, yeah, okay, yeah. In other words, if I'm in the program and say, geez, I didn't know there's a scholarship available for a technical program.
Right.
And how do I go about, you know, at least applying for this?
It's very easy. You can go to the Civic Partnership website and download an application. That's a very direct way. Almost any educational institution in this area, you can go to your financial aid office, or if you're in high school, go to your counselor. They'll have the information. And I'm going to make sure they do, because I'm distributing posters and applications to every counseling unit in the area. Is there a phone number that they can call just to get information? Bob, what is your phone number?
570-455-1509.
So 455-1509 is an opportunity just to call, and Bob or there are people that give you a direction where to go. So
ask about the scholarship when you call. That's the chamber number.
Okay. Oh, the scholarship program, fine.
Right.
When Luzerne, I was the chairman of the college board, I don't know if you remember, for many years, and we built a college. And one of the main purposes back in 1969, 68, when it was in River Street, the college was built. It similar reminds me of this, because the college was built to meet the needs of the county. Whatever they needed in needs, whether they were technical, plumbers, etc., that's the reason why the community college, the county kicks in 1/3, you know, for the building and expenses. But this seems to be the same thing, where you're looking at a need that is here, but it's not limited to just Luzerne County. If I'm going to Williamsport or Philadelphia or any other technical school, I could apply. However, you're saying that I have to then work here for 3 years.
That's correct. That's correct. That's exactly right.
What are the demands right now? What do we need right now?
Well, we still need industrial maintenance technicians. And if you have most two-year technical degrees, electrical, mechanical, engineering, technology, most of those would be in demand in the area for local manufacturers. There's demand in the medical profession for technologies, for medical technicians, for nursing locally, and there are jobs there, and they're good jobs. So there's a pretty good variety of occupations. There are several engineering openings in the area also, and we've had people going for baccalaureate degrees in engineering too. So there's a lot of opportunity there, and we're not an employment agency, but we also help guide people to employers.
I think it's fabulous, because there are many opportunities, but people sometimes don't realize the opportunities. There are a lot of middle-aged people out there right now that are, you know, may have lost a job, etc., and have technical skills. This is great for them as well as for younger people, and there's no age limit here.
And they're usually great students. Returning adults, once they get over the initial terror of going back to school, it's scary at first. Yeah. But once they get over that, they're usually very good students, because they know why they're there. They know what they want to do. And unlike a lot of the students around them, they've got a real sense of direction. They usually do quite well once they get their feet on the ground.
I met a person who was early 50s, and he's going back to school, and you know, and I said, well, how do you feel about it? He said, Sam, I'm having a ball. He said, I'm having a lot of fun with this. He said, I'm going in there, I'm talking to these kids. They're all ages, you know, maybe 18, 25, you know, and you know, he said, it's an exchange that he's having with them as to his life experience and what he's experienced and what he's learning right now. He said it's a beautiful mix. He says, I can't wait to go to school, he said, and it's a lot of fun for him. You know, isn't that encouraging, you know?
It is.
It's very encouraging.
It's wasted on the young, they say.
Yeah, well, I didn't hit 50 yet, but when I hit 50 years old, I'm thinking of becoming a television, you know, announcer. Folks, I'm talking to John Madden. He is the chairman of the scholarship program of the Civic Partnership. It's a great opportunity for you. And Bob Skulsky, who is the executive director, professor, doctorate, whatever you want to call him, of the Greater Hazleton Area Civic Partnership. We have a lot more to talk about when we come back after the break. Welcome back to the Sam Lesante Show, folks. We're talking to Bob Skulsky from the Greater Hazleton Area Civic Partnership, and John Madden, who is chairman of the scholarship program. Bob, there are some events happening now. Okay, let's talk about some of the events that are happening in the near future.
Oh, okay. I previously mentioned that, you know, construction on Phase 2 has started. That's ongoing.
On rails and trails.
On the rails and trails, on the Greater Hazleton Rails and Trails. And it should be completed in the July time frame of this year. But our next big event that's coming up on a trail, we have a lot of events coming up, but our next biggest event is our 10th annual hike and bike event. Now, we're expecting this year to draw over 1,000 people there. It's a wonderful event for the area. You could come with a young child at doesn't have a bicycle helmet and should have a bicycle helmet. If they're riding their bike, you could get a free bicycle helmet. You could go out on a trail. You could go on an environmental walk. You could go geocaching. You could do a host of other things. Come back to the parking lot and be fed a free picnic lunch, hamburgers, hot dogs. You worked it off on a trail, so now you could eat the hamburgers and the hot dogs. Of course, we have a lot of good food to eat that the hospital provides. We do this in combination with the hospital, and you know, they have blood pressure checks being taken. You know, they're sponsoring other health-related activities during the event. And it's just a great event. Everything is for free. Now, where could you go and get a free helmet, free food? And
what date is that?
Saturday, June 8th. It starts at 11 a.m. And of course, we start out with dignitaries from the area. That
so John Madden will be there.
Oh, John Madden will be there. Yeah, and you know, our local political officials will also be there. We'll have a dedication ceremony for the trees and other things that's happened on the trail this past year. And then we start the event, and it goes from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Good.
So, you know, mark it on your calendar. It's
June 8th, I'm afraid. If we're going to go for a walk, I'm going to have hot dogs and hamburgers. I'm going to get my blood pressure taken once you go through the roof. 455-1509, folks, if you want to call, ask Bob any questions about this. And then, of course, the scholarship program again. And for those people maybe just tuning in, explain what the scholarship program is in a capsule form here, John.
In a nutshell, this is an opportunity for people who want to go into technical fields. We try to encourage them. It's a $6,000 scholarship over 2 years for people who are willing to study any technical field. It can be ranging from a certificate program, that's not a degree program, but certificate training in industrial maintenance technology to baccalaureate engineering, four-year college. Those are technical disciplines to us. That includes nursing, includes medical technologies as well. People who are willing to enter those disciplines, study in them, get up to a $6,000 scholarship. But they're required to return to this area after they complete their studies, work here at least 3 years. They do that, they've completed their obligation. Our hope is, of course, they'll stay in the area and add to the workforce in this area.
Is there a deadline for this?
Yes, we'll probably have a deadline of May 15th.
May 15th.
That's usually our deadline. And anytime up to then they can apply. It's easy to get the application on the website of the Civic Partnership, or their high school counselor should have a copy, should be aware of it, or their financial aid office if they're in college or at a higher education institution such as McCann, they should be aware of it there because they'll have the information.
I think it's a great opportunity for anyone to do that, and the fact that it's you have a scholarship, and you've been involved since 2001, correct?
2000, we've given out 21 scholarships over that period of time.
Wow.
Of those, 18 have either fulfilled their obligations or are on track to do so. So it's been very successful.
That's great. You know, it's interesting, John, in closing, we talk about people, and I don't mean to put you on the spot here, but you know, there are a lot of people that came into this town. You came in from Chicago and you were up at Penn State, and then you retired, but you're still very active in the community. And I think it's a good tribute to you and people like Bob who are, you don't have to do this. You don't have to do what you're doing to promote the town. And I applaud the both of you and your organizations for doing that, because it shows that you were honest to what you did at Penn State, and you continue to support this area, and you certainly could relax and enjoy yourself. And I think it's a tribute to the both of you to continue on what you're doing, and really it's a good thing. You know, keep up the good work.
Thank you, Sam.
Okay. Folks, it's called the Greater Hazleton Area Civic Partnership, the Scholarship Program. You have until May the 15th. 455-1509. He said there'll be posters all over the place, but you can pick up $6,000, and it's a great opportunity for you, and it's a great career for you. Thanks for joining us on the Sam Lesante Show. Remember, 24/7, SSPTV.com. Every one of our shows are there, and my email is sam@ssptv.com. We'll see you next time.